Hello there. I was wondering if we could today talk about this state of mind which I would refer to as I do not know what to do next. I repeat, the state of mind which I refer to as I do not know what to do next. Now, what exactly is this kind of a state of mind? Is this a desirable state of mind? Is it a comfortable state of mind? Wouldn't it be risky if somebody is in a state where he or she does not know what to do next? Well, here is where I would like to differentiate these two facets or dimensions or realms. Take, for example, the day-to-day practical living, everyday functional living, the world of technological activities. There, yes, you cannot be in a state of I do not know what to do next. You have to have a certain level of planning, a certain level of preparedness, an ability to analyze, an ability to forecast, to predict, to guess, to estimate, to guesstimate, to work out things. Okay, all of this is absolutely required in that realm. Whether that realm is the home, whether that realm is the office, or whether that is somewhere out there in the public space. So interactions in these places are mostly transactional in nature. So the fact that these interactions are transactional in nature, for example, the professional world, the area, the space where you are in an office from 9 to 5 every day, there absolutely all of these qualities that I listed are required, because your organization has hired you so that you are able to contribute to the achievement of the organization's goals. So there, if you are going to be in a position of I do not know what to do next, then obviously you become a liability, because you are not going to produce anything of value. There will not be any outcome, any output. There will not be any efficiency and effectiveness. And therefore, they hiring you and paying you salary is of no use, because you're really not really delivering anything. That's a classic example of an office environment where you have to be in a state of, yes, I know what to do next. Take, for example, the other kind of space, which is the world of relationships. There, is it really necessary to be in a state of I do not know what to do next? Let's try and examine this a little bit. Okay, in a world of relationship, let's take for example a simple family setting, which we are all familiar with. Husband, wife, or father, mother, children, okay, maybe grandparents, maybe in-laws. This is the typical setting you have in your home. And if X is a person who was placed in that situation, as much as Y and Z and every other entities, what is X relationship to Y and Z and all the other people who are there? If X is going to relate to the rest of the people in the family with a preconceived or a planned or an ideated or a manipulated or a calculated approach in his or her relationship with Y and Z and rest of the people, that means X is actually blocking the opportunity for a certain level of freshness and newness in relationship. Now, what exactly do I mean here? Now, a family setting is also a place where these kind of, let's say, emotions run deep. There is love, there is hate, there is frustration, there is anxiety, there is even a certain level of envy, comparison, greed. These are very much there even in a family setting. It's not that these are there only when you in a setting where you are with your colleagues in the office or with your classmates in school and college. It is very much there or out there in the sports field, where it's about one-upmanship and you try to outbeat the other, outsmart the other. Even in a family setting, it's a world of relationship, and therefore, definitely, certainly, these qualities prevail. These emotions and these feelings prevail. Now, if X is a person who is in a state of I do not know what to do next, which means X is going to respond, interact, relate, for example, with Y. Let's say X is the husband and Y is the wife. The husband is going to relate with the wife with a certain level of freshness, with a certain level of spontaneity. That's absolutely important because X, the husband, isn't carrying any emotional baggage. If Y, the wife, has insulted the husband a week ago, or 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, or the wife has compared the husband with another person, saying that he is earning more, he has a bigger car, what are you doing? If all of this is going to be carried as a baggage by the husband, then he is going to look at his wife with that lens. That lens is going to be one of suspicion. That lens is going to be one of anxiety. That is going to be a very guarded kind of a relationship, which means there is no openness and there is no spontaneity. And because it is being the responses and the actions are generated from a past baggage, and because there isn't any kind of spontaneity in it, there is no real quality of relationship to that so-called relationship. Okay, the word relationship is far deeper and more fundamental than the way in which we casually use. So one wouldn't even call such a relationship as no relationship. One would say it's a wrong relationship. So any relationship is a wrong relationship if a person X is going to be operating from the past in his or her interaction with Y and the other people, whether they are in the family setting, whether they are in the extended family setting, whether you are placed in a social gathering where you meet with people with whom you have already related and transacted in the past. They could be your friends, they could be your cousins, they could be your colleagues, they could be your business partners. So all of these kind of people are what we meet with in our everyday life, and therefore it clearly emerges as two aspects to this relationship. One is the transactional side, the other is the psychological angle. Transactional side, we are absolutely clear that you must definitely be cognizant of what your next move is going to be. You cannot keep people in suspense. You cannot keep people wondering as to what your next action is going to be. Certainly that's a no-no. There has to be a certain level of predictability to it. That's absolutely important. So we have also clearly understood. And in the world of psyche, as we also just talked about it, it's important to see whether we will be in a state of I do not know what to do next. Which actually means that it is only the feelings that operate, but without the interference of thought. If you really examine your feeling, let us say you are in a situation where you are interacting, relating with your wife with the background of she having insulted you. Now you are going to respond based on whatever she has done to you, in whatever manner she has behaved with you, conducted with you, which means you're carrying the past burden or the past knowledge, which is nothing but thought in operation. But if thought was not in operation, then this feeling of getting hurt, you will observe when you observe, let's say, without the operation of knowledge or the past, is that this feeling of hurt will rise, bloom, and naturally wither away and die. no interference of thought, when there is no operation of thought. It is the operation of thought that is strengthening the hurt, strengthening the insult, manipulating the insult, trying to transmute that insult into maybe love or sacrifice, or suddenly become charitable or kind. So if one didn't want to do all of that, if one finds the futility of transmutation of that, or the manipulation of that, or the strengthening or the weakening of that, then definitely you will find that that particular strong feeling of hurt and insult, which has happened, let's say, sometime in the past, whether it's a recent past or a past that is several years ago, that will naturally bloom and naturally die. When that happens, when there is no interference of thought, you will find that relationship takes on a new meaning. Relationship becomes very substantial. Relationship becomes very enriching. This is something that I am not giving as a formula or as a method or a system. You try it out. Now, having listened to this video, you try it out, you test it out, you experiment it. See if you are able to observe the movement of that insult, the movement of the jealousy, and see whether you are able to test out if thought does not interfere, if thought does not meddle, and thought stays in its background, which is its area that it is designated to be, which is the field of technological, technical, practical, day-to-day transactional living. So if one is able to observe this, do an observation of this, the arising of this feeling and the withering and the death of this feeling, or the dying out of this feeling, without thought trying to manipulate or strengthen or do any of those things, then certainly you will find that the mind is in a state of, I do not know what to do next. So it is from the springboard of emptiness that you relate or interact in this wonderful field of relationship, which will then have a totally different implication and takes you to a different dimension of building equations and friendships and relationships with a whole lot of people, whether they are your near and dear ones, your kith and kin, or somebody whom you meet even once in a way, like possibly a friend or a business associate or somebody like that. So this is what I wanted to leave you with, this particular significance or the importance of the psychological state of mind being in a state of, I do not know what to do next. Thank you.